Okay, thanks so much for joining us today. This is our webinar on increasing employee productivity with an effective time and attendance system. My name is Alan Thurston, and I will be your host. Joining me on the call today is Ruli Garcia. I'm our events marketing manager here at NetTime Solutions, and Ruli is our technical sales engineer. He'll be joining us a little bit later for a demo of our software StratusTime. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to discuss a comprehensive time and attendance program that can increase your employee productivity levels and improve employee morale. Due to the number of participants on the line, I have the phones muted, so feel free to enter any questions you might have throughout the webinar in the chat box on your screen. That's the question mark up there at the top. At the end of the presentation, we will answer your questions, and if we run out of time, we will follow up with you individually after the call. So during this webinar, we're going to be covering managing employee productivity levels, drivers that can improve productivity in the workplace, the benefits of a self-service system, how to add value for your HR administrators, and also how executives use time and attendance data. Then we're going to have an overview of the StratusTime software, followed by a question and answer session. All right, we'll get going here. Managing employee productivity levels. Now, managing productivity levels can be extremely aggravating from time to time. In a recent study we conducted, the 70% of management staff surveyed reported that the employee productivity was the most important goal in order for them to be able to maximize their workforce. So the question today is, how do you regulate employee productivity levels within the workplace? An advanced point system will give you the ability to address any attendance issues, reward and/or deduct points, and enforce some of the attendance policies that you have. There's our key points here. All right, a comprehensive time and attendance program that has a built-in point system can help you, as a manager, keep track and also help you monitor your employees' activity and workflow during normal business hours. Also, drivers that can improve productivity in the workplace. These can include a particular survey that we conducted, and that shows that 65% of people we surveyed aren't currently using an automated workforce system to track their time and attendance data. So productive workplace practices focus on performance and the improvement of that performance. Aligning your employees with that concept can help reinforce the significance of key productivity drivers. Oftentimes, many mistake this to mean they need to work harder in order to prove themselves worthy or valuable to a boss, a colleague, or even an entire team. So dedication, after all, is perceived as working long hours or taking on a considerable amount of responsibility. At least that's what we've been taught to believe. Today, the more modern understanding of dedication can be quite the opposite. Keeping in mind there's no one-size-fits-all solution, dedicated employees understand the importance of working smarter, not harder. No matter what the size of your business, there are a range of ways that you can improve your productivity in the workplace to benefit everybody. One of those is building leadership. Make sure you have a clear vision that drives your employees to a unified mission. Effectively communicating team goals and how your employees are contributing to them can inspire your staff to pursue opportunities that contribute to the growth and the development of your business. Another thing is creating a productive culture. People are encouraged to go the extra mile when they are feeling valued. This stems from a number of different influences. In the workplace specifically, main contributors are from team members, managers, and even from the executive staff. Encourage relationship building activities with your staff so that they're confident and get to know one another and in turn develop that trust. Also, invest in your people. The more skills your staff has, the more they are able to contribute to your business. Providing your employees with adequate training can lead to further development and future operational success. It can also give them the confidence they need to effectively complete a project or even certain daily tasks. Another thing, measure what matters. Assessing the value of any investment you make to improve workplace productivity can help determine what is useful, what is working, and what needs further improvement. From an employee standpoint, you can assess the amount of time spent on a project or task to determine whether time is being spent the most and if additional help is needed based on the level of responsibility that individual has. A comprehensive time and attendance solution can help you gain insight into these metrics to forecast operational needs on a seasonal or even quarterly basis. Next topic is our benefits of a self-service system. Having a self-service workforce management system that employees and managers can access at all times can be an important element to maintaining productivity levels within the workplace. Because companies depend on their employees for accuracy, a self-service workforce management system can require your employees to remain consistent with their attendance as well as improve your time tracking accuracy within the office. Whether it's through a computer, smartphone, tablet, or community device, access should not be an issue. All right, moving on. In a recent study we conducted, the result revealed 50% of our respondents reported they would like their staff to have access to their own individual schedules. Organizations looking to deploy a self-service solution, the system should include the following: access through a cloud clock, a mobile interface, web kiosk, or telephony device in order to clock in and clock out. Also, transferring information between departments. If an employee is arriving and works at different departments or locations, important to track those labor levels. Also, managing accruals, setting alerts, renewal notifications, and reconciling time punches. Another thing, automatically forecasting according to seasonal trends and staffing needs. Reporting hours based on labor levels, and monitoring employee infractions and overtime. Self-service can make life easier for both the employee productivity and on an HR administrative level as well. Next topic, adding value for your HR administrators. The scope of what HR encompasses goes beyond recruitment, staff administration, and payroll. In fact, your company's HR administrator's work is crucial to supporting the development of your organization. And that's why improving their processes can be essential to facilitating strategic productivity levels. With organizations needing to respond quickly to the ever-changing market, your HR department is required to maintain and oversee a favorable working environment to continue the company's progress. Timesheet fraud, incorrect timesheet calculations, unauthorized attendance, things like buddy punching, working excessive overtime, unexcused absences, even unreported time off, can all be a thing of the past. Of course, that is if all of these items are being done automatically. If not, the manual entry of any of these items can create room for error and further cost at some point down the line. Moving on, a comprehensive time and attendance system needs to be able to handle your organization's processes effectively and produce the results, analysis, and reports whenever they're required. Below is a simple checklist of items that a well-engineered system should have. Should include things like easy accessibility, multiple permission levels, comprehensive and uninterrupted data flow, and it consolidates employee data automatically. A few other things, it should also be able to shift and have scheduling control, be able to calculate time and wages based on your payroll policies. That can also be based on whatever your region is. I know a lot of different states have different labor laws, and that's a very important thing to make sure that those are accurate. Another thing, of course, is integrating with payroll software seamlessly, which is something that isn't a problem with StratusTime. Another thing, providing reports on metrics accurately. How executives use time and attendance. So many organizations have specific goals in mind when considering a time and attendance system. These goals include increasing employee productivity, improving compliance with applicable wage and hour requirements, controlling your payroll and associated costs, and expediting billing. Employee activities can drive operational efficiency as well as drive cost. In order to see what is happening, executives need to be able to see how departments are spending their time and whether or not those activities are in line with the company's goals. Unfortunately, you don't know what you can't see, and obstacles can only be addressed if they are visible. Because payroll usually has the biggest budget, often 50 to 75% of an organization's cost, taking a passive approach to managing it isn't the best way to operate your organization. A comprehensive workforce management system can provide your executives with the operational details that they need, whenever, wherever, and the important thing is in real time. The most common areas executives focus on for an attendance system are automated paid time off requests and rules, access to time off balances, ability to request a change to a timesheet, ability to request approval from missing clock in and clock out. A few other features, to be able to provide email and text alerts, training history and expiration notices, employee schedule, job schedules, and open positions, as well as online payroll check access, eliminating mailing direct deposit advance notices. Okay, and at this time, we're going to feature our StratusTime demo. So I'll go ahead and kick it over to Ruli, and he can walk you through some of the main points and features of our product StratusTime.
Great, thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. So one of the first things we're going to cover here is going to be advanced reporting, which of course is one of the main features in having a real-time time and attendance system. Okay, so it's important to be able to measure a number of different things when it comes to your time and attendance. Now, the StratusTime system has the ability to have a number of different customized labor levels. As you can see from the screenshot above, location and project are sample levels that these employees may be allowed to select time to. However, it is not limited to categories like that. You may have groups, phases, projects, job codes. Each system is customized to the client's needs. So as you can see here, report hours are based on those labor levels. You can compare scheduled versus actual hours. You can do things like track your employees' time infractions based on their schedules, and that'll give you a better understanding of quite possibly your yearly and seasonal trends if you have variations in your staffing needs, and also stay on top of things like approaching overtime. Another piece that you may choose to take advantage of is the ability to track your ACA compliance. You have the ability to set an infinite number of ACA policies within the system. So if you have different groups of employees that operate in different fashions, you can set, as you can see from this screen, those initial measurement periods, those standard measurement periods, whether you need some sort of administrative period in between them to process your stuff. And then, of course, you can report back and see which employees should be offered coverage based on those weekly averages, weekly and monthly averages. So you can get custom alerts to know if employees are approaching those set thresholds. You can schedule notifications so that you can get scheduling notifications that tell you if an employee is approaching those thresholds so you can allot their time wisely. And you can also, as I said here, customize those measurement periods to make sure it works best for your company. One of the biggest things when it comes to a time and attendance system is, of course, points tracking or attendance infractions. So you have the ability to set custom rules within the system. So what does it equal to be late? Is an employee late 10 minutes after their scheduled time? Are they very late half an hour after their scheduled time? Those rules can vary and do not have to be applied to each employee, nor do they have to be the same for your different employees. As you can see from the screen here, it can be something as simple as a notification in that top right corner where you see those different number bubbles, or it can be more forward-facing. There is an alert on the screen with a pop-up window showing me that this particular employee clocked in at this time. Maybe I had the system set to notify me because I needed to have them sign something, or I needed to bring something to them particularly on that day. Further, you can bring that stuff into what we call a points tracking policy. So on top of being able to track when your employees are late, you can also monitor continued violations. So maybe they get 1 point for every time they come to work late. And if they accumulate 5 points within maybe a 3-month rolling period or a 60-day period, for example, some sort of notification can go to that manager, that supervisor, some sort of payroll admin, or maybe even that individual employee. There might even be some sort of written warning that needs to go out, at which point there can also be an attachment in the system. And you can see that message might go out to the employee, and they may also have some sort of letter. And as you can see, there's that sample letter. All of that stuff would be dynamic and filled in based on your specific points tracking policy.
All right, well, now we're going to open up the lines here for any questions that might be submitted. Like I mentioned, that's in that question mark icon in your in the upper end of the screen. Let's see here. And we'll go ahead and answer a few as they come in. We have one that came in here saying, can you change what type of project the employee is working on? I believe that is a yes. So if you want to explain that a little bit further, Rui?
Yeah, sure, not a problem. So there's a number of different ways this can be handled. When the employee actually enters their time, they can do so in a live fashion, where they might transfer throughout the day what they're working on. Maybe I start the day working on one project, and a couple hours into my day, I can click a transfer button to not clock out, but in fact change where my time is being allocated. They could also have simply done so on a timesheet. But in the case of maybe a mistake was made or someone's time needs to be changed, yes, some sort of manager or supervisor would have the ability within the time card to change where that time was being allocated. So maybe we're switching, it says they're working on project A at that time when in fact they worked on project B. So I can switch their time to project B, and I can include notes for why I was making that change, which of course is important. There are audit trails you can run in the system to show you any changes that were made, who made those changes, and of course any notes they may have included for you there, as there is a notes field that you can have in place.
All right. Looks like we have one more question here. Looks like it is, how long do your implementations generally take? So this is to get trained so that you're basically up and running. What are your thoughts on that one, really?
Sure, that's going to vary depending on company size, but it would be on average 6 to 8 weeks. And that time span is going to include a couple of different things. Of course, that initial investigation process where we do in fact find out all of the details of those different policies. Then there's the custom build that goes on, where the implementation specialist will create the account based on those specific rules. There's a lot of different interaction with the client at that point to make sure things are working properly, to make sure it looks as they envision for that particular employee. From there, there's a few different trainings geared towards managers, supervisors, admins, and then also a kind of train the trainer approach so that going forward, there's the ability to teach new people how to use the system. Uh, Also, on top of that, there is assistance going through either the first payroll period, if not the second payroll period, to make sure that that process is complete. So they actually will work with you to get you through everything there before you make the transition from implementation into support. So between the setup and the training and running kind of that system along with you that first time, typically 6 to 8 weeks start to end.
Yeah, thanks, really. And to add one of the, something on top of that is one of the greatest things about Stratus Time is its scalability and the fact that it's not just a out-of-the-box software. So you can really cater it to whatever your business needs are, depending on whatever type of industry you're in. And we had one more question here. Looks like, what payroll systems does Stratus Time integrate with? If you want to take it.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. It would be a long time if I read a list right now, to be perfectly honest with you. So what we can say is we are already integrated with hundreds of payroll systems, ERP, HR. Really, if we don't already have the integration, we can work on creating one. And those vary from flat file import export to single sign-on, real-time web service connections. So it does in fact vary, but at minimum, and this is really the big takeaway, there is never dual entry. There's at minimum the ability to do a flat file import-export process so that information is only being entered in one place, whether it's time and attendance feeding payroll or it's an HR system feeding the time and attendance system new employees. All of those things are connected.
All right. And it looks like we actually have one more question here. It was regarding explaining geolocation. Ruli, if you want to go on that one.
Yeah, sure. So on top of, there's a number of different options for employees to track time, whether it's through the web, through a time clock, through timesheets. We also have the ability to enter time from a mobile device. And any employee that enters time from a mobile device can carry a geolocation stamp with that transaction. So what that means is you can go to their time card, you'll see a special icon, and if you click on that icon, it will show you exactly where on a map that punch occurred. Further, you have the ability to geofence. So you can now, on a map, draw a grid and say, my employee cannot punch unless they are within that grid, or my employee cannot punch unless they are X amount of feet away from a pin that I dropped on a map. So you do have the ability to see where they are for your mobile workforce, as well as limit where they can and cannot perform those functions.
All right. Thank you, Ruli. And it looks like we are good when it comes to questions at this point. Let's see here. Okay, so thank you all for joining us, taking time out of your day to join us here, and hopefully we were able to answer some questions. But if not, you can always call 800-561-6366 or nettimesolutions.com to request a customized demo of our time and attendance software. All right, thanks really for joining me, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. All right, thank you.